Hey there, welcome. Let's get comfortable and talk about something, something that's going to stretch your brain a little. We're going to explore this wild idea that maybe, just maybe, on some bizarre quantum level, your consciousness is actually designed to survive everything. Yeah, let's get into it.
So just imagine for a moment, what if every single time you faced a true life or death situation, you were guaranteed to come out on the other side? Not because you're lucky, but because the very laws of reality itself made it so. It sounds like something out of a movie, I know, but what's fascinating is that this isn't just fiction. It's a serious thought experiment that comes from a really strange, really deep corner of physics.
All right, before we jump into the deep end, let's just agree on something. We're about to take a little trip into the very theoretical, kind of speculative side of science. This is all about exploring possibilities and playing with ideas. So let's approach this with a bit of fun, okay? We're gonna half believe and fully explore this together.
Okay, so our story really begins with this thought experiment that's, it's a little grim, but it's also brilliant. It's called quantum suicide, and it was dreamed up as a way to really test the limits of what we think we know about reality.
So here's the setup. You're sitting in a chair, and there's a gun pointed at you. But this gun's trigger isn't normal. It's wired to a quantum particle. Every single second, a measurement is taken. If the particle spin is, say, down, the gun fires. If the spin is up, you just hear a harmless click. It is a perfect 50-50 coin flip between life and death, and it happens again and again every single second.
So what happens? Basic math tells us you'd be gone almost instantly. A 50% chance of not making it past the first second. 75% by the second, it's not looking good. But here's the twist. According to this theory, from your point of view, you would hear a click, and then another click, and another. You would sit there for what feels like an eternity, as the gun just keeps on clicking, but never firing. You would only ever experience survival. The big question is, how on earth is that possible?
Well, the answer to that question is maybe even weirder than the experiment itself. It all comes down to a really controversial but really compelling idea about what reality actually is. To get this, we have to talk about the universe splitting into different versions of itself.
Okay, so for a long time, the standard theory in quantum physics, that's the Copenhagen interpretation on the left, basically said that when you measure something, reality kind of picks a winner. All the other possibilities just vanish. Poof. But then came this other, much wilder idea, the many worlds interpretation, over on the right. It says reality never picks a winner at all. Instead, it just branches. Every single possible outcome happens, each one in its very own brand new parallel universe.
So what does that actually mean? It means that every time a tiny quantum event happens, the entire universe splits. One universe for each possible result. So you can think of reality less like a straight line and more like a gigantic, constantly growing tree with trillions upon trillions of branches. And right now, we're just living on one of those branches.
Now, this idea might sound pretty new age, but it's actually been around for a while. And it has this really fascinating, very human story behind it, about a physicist who believed in his own theories so much that he thought it made him immortal.
It all kicks off back in 1957. A guy named Hugh Everett III proposes this radical idea in his PhD thesis. At first, nobody really paid much attention, but then, in the 70s, another physicist named Bryce DeWitt picked it up, gave it the super catchy Many Worlds name, and it started to get traction. And then, way later in 1997, Max Tegmark used Everett's idea as the foundation for that whole quantum suicide experiment we just talked about. And really, this was a huge moment for the theory. When this book came out in 1973, it took all those scattered ideas and put them together in one place. Suddenly, this mind-bending concept was sitting on the bookshelves of physicists all over the world, and they had to take it seriously. Now this is where it gets absolutely incredible. Hugh Everett, the guy who came up with the whole thing, he wasn't just thinking about math. He apparently believed, truly, that his theory meant he could never die. His logic was that since his consciousness can't experience not existing, It must follow the path, the universe branch, where he continues to exist. Every single time.
Okay, so let's bring it all back to that gun experiment. Now that we have the many worlds theory in our back pocket, that totally bizarre outcome starts to make a weird kind of sense.
And this is the paradox right here. For anyone watching you from the outside, your odds of survival just plummet towards zero. After a few seconds, they are almost guaranteed to see the experiment end badly. But for you, the person in the chair, your experience of survival is always 100%. The probability never goes down.
So think about it. Every time the trigger is pulled, reality splits in two. In one universe, the particle spins down, the gun fires, and that version of you is gone. End of story. But in the other universe, the particle spins up, the gun just clicks, and you're still there. Since your consciousness can't follow the path where it ends, it has to follow the path where it continues. Your subjective experience is just one long, unbroken chain of impossible survival. You are always the one who makes it.
All right, deep breaths. It's a dizzying idea, I know. It's incredible. But before you start feeling a little too invincible, we have to talk about the reality check. Because the same physicists who came up with this are also really clear. This is not how it works in the real world.
So here's the catch. The whole experiment only works because it's a perfect, clean, instantaneous switch between alive and not alive. But real life is, well, it's messy. Dying is almost never like flipping a switch. It's a gradual process, a slow decline. There's no single clean moment where reality can branch in that perfect way. So things like old age or most accidents just don't fit the rules.
Hey look, don't just take it from me. This is from Max Tegmark, the guy who formalized the experiment. He's the first to say that real death just isn't a binary yes or no event. The whole quantum suicide thing is an artificial situation, designed specifically to create that clean split, which, well, just doesn't really happen in nature.
So the biggest takeaway here is pretty simple. Quantum immortality is a totally fascinating logical outcome of the many worlds theory, but only in a perfect idealized lab setting. The messy, complicated, gradual reality of biology means that, unfortunately, it's not a secret path to living forever.
And that kind of leaves us with one last question to chew on. Even if this doesn't make us immortal, the idea itself forces us to think about something really profound. If many worlds is right, then right now there are countless other versions of you out there. A version that took that other job, a version that said yes instead of no. They're all real. So, which one is the real you? And what does that mean for the choices that you are making right here on this particular branch of reality? It's something to think about. Thanks for exploring it with me.